One of the greatest struggles that we have as children of God is knowing when to open our mouths and knowing when to keep our mouths shut. So often, especially in times when criticism is being handed down or verbal persecution, we want to open our mouths and say things in retaliation. And in this, we fail to realize the detrimental effect that can have upon our spiritual influence. Whenever we open our mouths and we lash out against those who disagree with us or those who may even be condemning us for what we believe, we fail to realize that we're simply making ourselves look more like the world rather than more like Jesus Christ. Long ago, there was a judge who was on a circuit in a certain town. And in this town, he knew that there was an attorney who each time he came before him in court always had some type of sneering, egotistical remarks to say toward this judge. Well, after one of these occasions in court, the judge was out eating supper with some friends one night, and these friends asked this judge why he continues to put up with the words of this conceited attorney. Well, at the mentioning of this, the judge dropped his knife and his fork. He put his hands in his chin, put his elbows on the table, and he gave emphasis to a story. He says, up in our town, there is a widow who has a dog, and whenever the moon shines, the dog goes out and barks at the moon all night long. At this point, he picked up his knife and his fork, and he began to eat again. Well, after a few moments, one of his friends asked him, said, well, what's the point of the story? What about the dog? They said, what about the dog and the moon and this illustration that you're making? The judge said, oh, the moon is not bothered. It continues to shine. Yes, friends, one of the hardest things for a Christian to do is to keep shining for Christ when we're being barked at by our persecutors. Many times just an insignificant thing will cause us to step down from our position as Christians and fight that which should be ignored. In other words, the devil can accuse us of one weakness in order that he may be able to bring another upon us. The best way to fight our enemies is to be like the moon and continue to shine. Surely Paul had this in mind when he authorized the following in Romans 12, verses 20 and 21. He says, therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in doing so, thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head. We sometimes say that a lie travels faster than the truth. And friends, I believe this to be a fact. However, let's keep in mind that a lie is simply light without lack of truth. And if it is ignored, it will end in destruction. We simply need to be shining before the lie appears and continue shining after it arrives and after it has passed away. And friends, if we will do this, all will be well. A feather is light and is easily blown about with a tremendous speed, but for it to cast its weight against anything solid, it causes no more damage than the breeze. Falsehoods are just that harmless if we remain firm and continue to shine our light. No doubt, but what the enemies of Christ desired him to answer their questions in a mean and sinful way, but they were disappointed. He was the light of the world and couldn't afford to give up this glory. This is why Jesus said to let your light so shine before men that they may see our good works and glorify our Father which is in heaven. Thank you for joining us today. Have a blessed day.